Hello everybody and welcome. I am Aleister and today's movie review was requested by this purple and green lion.
Hello!
And today we're looking at Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Start off in the overture. One of the songs were cut because they lost the footage and it was called Step in the Right Direction. We see medieval kind of drawings in the background. This part of the song, A Step in the Right Direction, is missing. It's the instrumental version, but the reconstruction of the song is a bonus feature.
If you can't tell, I really love Bedknobs and Broomsticks and everything about it.
We are now in England, August 1940. We get some banter in between these two. Here we meet the children, Carrie, Charles and Paul. There was a scene that was cut where a scruffy lad points a gun at someone. Ooh, your favourite bit, John, the soldiers of the Old Home Guards. Miss Price picks up a strange parcel.
It's probably a broom.
She escorts Miss Price to the kids. Meanwhile, they're being little
Hey, that's my line.
She doesn't want to take the kids, but she has to. By order of the British government, she has to take them. These two talk.
You little this is great.
We meet cosmic creepers. She shows them the bed.
Off-roid.
Kerry talks about running away from the bombs. This got a bit too real. After the kids are in bed, Miss Price flees to the workroom. Look at her go. Down to the workroom. Okay. Anywho, she reads a letter telling her that she has become an apprentice witch.
She opens her parcel, which turns out to be a broom. Yeah, I would have never guessed!
This follows into a cut song, A Step in the Right Direction. She was not ready.
Neither were we!
I do like a bit of crumpet.
Now's not the time. I'm fried.
She eventually flies with an instrumental version of Step in the Right Direction. The little try to flee back to London.
Oh look, no hands.
Charlie comes up with a plan. Later at breakfast, Charlie confronts Miss Price about her flying lesson last night.
More like crashing lesson.
Charlie runs his tongue a little too much.
She uses the spell Filigree Apogee Pedigree Perigee on him.
This turns Charlie into a fluffy white rabbit, which he then gets chased by cosmic creepers. She talks about how important her magic is to the war. Charlie still wants something and Miss Price tells them to follow her to her workroom. Here we get a load of different things like Eye of Newt, was the dragon poisoned or just the liver?
I don't know. Let's ask Crystal Fire.
Was your liver poisoned or just you? Maybe it's because I've been drinking. She needs something valuable and Paul gets his knob out. Not like that! Down, Freud! Down! Down, Freud! Down!
She casts the famous travelling spell, Hellborn, Henbane, Akunite, Glow 15, Firefly Light.
She gets a visit from the priest, I think, that hands her a letter. It is from Mr. Brown. Charlie tries to get more money out of Miss Price, but it fails. She explains it to Paul. Our childhood innocence.
Oh, Freud!
They get ready to make the bed for travel. Charlie does not want to go, and Miss Price sings The Age of Not Believing.
It just so happens to be my favourite song.
So they all get on the bed, and Charlie tries to be edgy. Everyone gets ready, and Cosmic Creepers scares Charlie. They jump on the bed and... John, can you explain this bit?
One LSD trip coming up.
They arrive after the drugs wore off. They find Professor Brown and move the bed out of the way. We meet Professor Brown. We then get a song with Professor Brown with magic tricks. And the song's called With a Flare. We get an unhappy woman who looks like that dinner lady that doesn't want to be there. We also get a gentleman that looks like he's from Red Dead Redemption. The kids make their move.
Wait, hang on a minute. He had money on him already?
Miss Price kind of tells the kids off until they point out Professor Brown. Professor Brown tries to flee, but the kids catch him.
Filigree, apogee, pedigree, perigee.
Miss Price changes him into a fluffy white rabbit. Professor Brown then starts fantasizing about all the potential money they could make. Professor Brown joins them and they get on the bed.
Then Mr. Brown gets given a dose of LSD as well.
They arrive at Mr. Brown's home. Yeah, it's abandoned because of the unexploded bomb, and you can see that here. Okay, I've got to admit, Professor Brown's place looks much better than Miss Price's.
Hey, it does what she needs it to do. It'd be a shame if something was to happen to it later.
The kids go exploring and find a nursery.
You can tell bits of this scene were cut because of the quality of the scene.
Paul reads a book called The Isle of Naboom Boom. I can't pronounce it, but John can. And this little slide plot is important to the story later on. Professor Brown gets a little... Freud. This is where Eglantine comes in, followed by Don't Let Me Down, but the filmmakers did because this part was cut.
Professor Brown, calm down! The kid could come back at any moment, and they don't need to see their potential adoptive mum dancing with a cretin like you.
Miss Price starts singing to him, which goes on to Don't Let Me Down. Then Professor Brown's little Brown pops up.
Freud, I thought we told you to...
Miss Price has enough of his antics and turns him into a fluffy white rabbit. Again. She gets the book, but the rest of the book is missing. Professor Brown says if the other part of the book exists, it would be down in Portobello Road. Professor Brown, do you know those girls? This has one of my favourite lines in. Who do you think you are? The Queen of Sheba?
The kids have been right on things.
Skyrim happens with the kids wearing pots over their heads. Professor Brown finds a person playing a piano, which would cost more than just £5 in today's money. This goes into the street dance, and other than it going on for way too long.
It is like 10 minutes long, but it does show community between different races, different cultures, and soldiers as well. Gary, could you not do that? That would be considered racist. And don't you hate it when you try and read and a guy dances on the table? But a majority of the dances were cut from this scene. And finally, it's closing time.
The song starts one last time and it's quite sombre. A shifty gentleman shows up. He springs a knife on them, but they get him to push the bed.
Flying bed? Fellas. Could you please stop showing off your knob, Paul? For f***'s sake, Freud! Now is not the time!
We meet the bookman. They both have the other half of the book that they need. They both swap their halves of the books and read it out aloud.
We learn about Astaroth, a wizard who has a star around his neck, which will be relevant for later.
This is where the Isle of Naboomboom. The bookman wants Paul's book and not his knob.
This is getting beyond a joke now. Would you please?
He takes out a knife, and what is it with this part and taking out knives?
I don't know. I guess they like them, I guess?
Everyone gets on the bed and off they go. We fall into the lagoon of Naboomboom.
Actually, it's Naboomboom.
We meet a fish, and afterwards the song Beautiful Briny starts.
The song wasn't meant to be in this, but they thought it would be best. It was supposed to be in Mary Poppins, in the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious section.
No wonder I get Mary Poppins vibes watching this. They float into a dance competition and win it. Then a hook comes out and takes them away. Hey, it's a sequel to Robin Hood.
It's literally Friar Tuck.
Little John, actually.
I never said I was playing.
The sign says no peopling allowed. The bear takes them to see the king.
Yes, I was very angry that day.
Professor Brown wants to see the king and he's not taking no for an answer. It's supposed to be football, not soccer.
It is Disney. And remember, they are American.
You look a lot more happier.
Oh yeah. This was an early regeneration of mine. Sorry.
This must have made a lot of people turn into furries.
Probably did, but I don't like footy now.
I can forgive it because it's anthropomorphic animals. You enjoyed Mr. Brown getting trampled, didn't you?
Yes I did. It was hilarious. See? Charles calls it football.
Those vultures really want Mr. Brown.
You think so? I thought it was football, not ping pong.
I thought it was badminton. The ball pops on the rhino's horn and John gets angry. Ball pops on the rhino's horn and John gets angry.
I'm sorry. I was post-regeneration Post-Time War, I had a lot of pent-up anger from it.
Mr. Brown steals his royal star, and once he finds out, it makes him angry. Now everyone, here comes an angry John.
I'm sorry. And now I'm a fluffy white rabbit. Oh, what now? I'd better go and deal with this. I will hand this over to you, Aleister, and I will be back towards the end.
Well, that was a big one. Pride. One LSD trip later, and they're back. Hold on, Captain. Professor Brown, can he take it? So, Professor Brown gets out the star that they nicked from the lion. But then it magically disappears. Then Paul says that the spell is in the book. So what on earth was the whole point of that? Could have told us before we had this big massive journey, Paul. So Miss Price cast the substitution Larry Mocollotion spell. But it doesn't work. But since this is a Disney movie, it has to work through song. So this goes into the substitution Larry Mocollotion song. Everybody starts singing, the kids get involved, and even Mr. Brown. Shoes come to life and they start dancing. But maybe the spell was a little bit too powerful since every other clothing item comes to life, including Miss Price's nightie, which Mr. Brown is all too happy to dance with. She acknowledges this and says she's not responsible for its behaviour. I thought I was rid of you, Freud. This gets a little out of hand. Mr. Brown tells Miss Price that she's got the cut-off spell, so she goes finding it. Make that, you cretin. The father, vicar, whatever, comes to visit Miss Price, unannounced probably, and his hat gets affected by the spell. Then Miss Price's nightie comes out and has a little fun time. Go away, Freud. Miss Price picks up a nightie, his hat comes back, and, say it with me, fillies and gentle chords, he buggers off. Dinner happens. After some malarkey, Miss Price gets a knock at the door. It's the lady that gave the kids to Miss Price. And because of the magic, she wants to take the kids away because she found a new family for them, apparently. She hints that she can't handle the kids. Then Mr. Brown comes in and the woman seems to be happy with the fact that the kids have a father figure. Father of the year, since the next scene he buggers off. Then Nazis. Mr. Brown decides to wait for the train. I think he'll be waiting a while. The Nazis cut off the electricity and make their move into invading Miss Price's house. Sleep well. So Jerry has captured the lot. Miss Price tries to turn him into a fluffy white rabbit, but she forgets the spell halfway. Very convenient plot point. This angers the crowd and gets the others to send them away. Mr. Brown, calm down, this is a kids' movie. Hey, nobody mentioned you. Down. His fantasies are interrupted when he spots some Nazis cutting the wire. Thank goodness, otherwise we would have to turn the U rating into PG. So he goes off to warn Miss Price. Didn't know Cosmic Creepers worked for the SS. Mr. Brown alerts the soldiers because of course he does, but he escapes into Miss Price's workroom. He grabs a spell to turn himself into a fluffy white rabbit so he can escape. That's pretty sexist, but the Nazis. They lock Miss Price in the museum where she got the kids. Full circle. Not much really happens apart from a failed escape attempt and Mr. Brown hopping on Miss Price's leg. Bad Freud, down, down. They wonder on how they are going to get out till one of them mentions the Druna McCoy spell to her. This scene is a little long, but it's good. The Nazis guarding outside wonder what all the commotion is going on inside. Then he gets hit. Miss Price and the inanimate objects are free. Then we get ready for an epic, funny showdown. Miss Price is there commanding the army. The Nazis get ready for a battle. Yet their guns do absolutely nothing. Their weapons are useless. Heck, the commandant says he doesn't believe in witches, retreats after seeing all this. They retreat, but not without blowing up Miss Price's house. Miss Price flies off the broom, and apparently that's enough to cancel out the spell. Don't worry, Miss Price is okay. A bit too late, gentlemen. There was already retreating. Yeah, you really showed those cherries, didn't you? Having her house blown up is enough to quit being a witch. She said she wanted to give it up after hearing about poisoned dragon liver. Doesn't matter about that fact that she can win the war without any casualty. Mr. Brown gets ready to join the army. He's escorted by the soldiers of the Old Home Guards. Say the goodbyes. Then we get teased by a sequel that we'll never get. And that's it. That's Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
And I'm back. That didn't take too long. Only about 3 weeks.
Review's over though.
Is it?
Yes.
Sorry. What have I missed?
The rest of the review.
I apologise. I had something else to deal with.
Oh. Anyway, what do you think about the movie?
I love it. It's my favourite.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see you later, everybody. I've been Aleister.
I'm John. Bye for now.